How's that?
Perfect.
Cool.
Welcome, everyone. It's Tuesday, July 8th, and Aaron is going to share with you our new logo for our event. And Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, we wanted to see if just rebranding it, this the old name to this event was a social event to build our community, um, and we have always gotten small. Actually, this is maybe the largest attendance we've had at a meeting of this, but we wanted to absolutely let everybody know we are going to do some type of agile technique or something of that nature, as well as rebrand it to see, if a more direct name or something of that uh, venture may bring in more people. We have three chapters here, so that host this. So a lot of people to pick from. And then the after hours is just to let you know the casual environment of this. It's not going to be a strict meeting with, your typical lecture type presentation. This is a discussion amongst our community that comes here and attends. And, you're welcome to participate and put your thoughts forward anytime you'd like.
Kind of like Kevin Bacon and Footloose, right? Okay, you're supposed to laugh at that one. Thank you, thank you. Cue the laughter.
You're working so hard.
I am. I came up with all kinds of, they're not dad jokes like Aaron usually tells, but they're Kevin Bacon focused. That's all, because it's his birthday. And Agile after
Oh,
hours.
I should have looked up some bacon dad jokes, huh?
Okay, I think that sounds like somebody's going to be doing some searches while we're doing this. So, welcome everyone. I'm Steph from the Bluegrass chapter. That was Aaron from the Bluegrass chapter. We have Marci from Chicagoland, and we have Cathy plus an assortment of friends. So, we appreciate you being here tonight. And our theme of the event is 7 degrees of bacon. And of course, who do we always think about when we think of bacon? We think of Kevin Bacon. But we also have some other themed ideas or themes. And Marci, do you want to kick it off with telling us all the history behind it? There may
Well,
or
one
may
of the
not
things
be
we were going to talk,
competition. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the things we were going to talk about tonight is, of course, Kevin Bacon, because it's his birthday and whatnot. So that's definitely one of our items. Another, but there are also several things being celebrated today. And I'm pulling up my National Day calendars to make sure I don't miss any that I meant to say. But obviously, from the food, you can see that there's a theme that appears to have some chocolate involved. That's because it's Chocolate with Almonds Day. It's also National Raspberry Day, National Freezer Pop Day. And even though we're a little bit late coming to it, we thought we'd kind of a little bit late to the party celebrate Independence Day because that was only a few days ago. And that can give us some discussion about Independence Days around the world. So I think that's the main ones that we were going to talk about. But of course, we had to have those food ones, the chocolate almonds and raspberries, yum. And like I said earlier, Button doesn't get the chocolate, but she loves bacon.
It sounds amazing. So tell us more about where all of this interesting information came from.
The Independence Day and all that?
Well, whatever. Do you have any background for us? Any
Oh,
color?
I do have some
Any?
stuff. I have a
Oh,
question to start out with. To go back to Independence Day, um, obviously the United States is July 4th, and we've talked in the past that Canada celebrates an Independence Day on a different day. But I'm just curious if anyone has any sense of what country may have separated other countries out more than anyone else. So, country used to have a bunch of territories and whatnot, and a whole slew of them have declared independence from this country.
Would that be the UK?
Russia?
Very good. I
would
have an
vote
interesting
Russia.
map that I'm hoping will show up if I share my screen. And it's amazing the number of ones that I found that were from Great Britain. Let's see, do I have the ability to share? It looks like I do, hopefully. Will my computer work? That's the next thing. Come on. I'm hitting share. Is it sharing? I can't tell, but it looks like it is.
Mm-mm.
As I try to move the toolbars
Quiet,
out of the way,
there
so
it
I
is.
can see what I'm
Now it
doing.
There
is.
it is.
Yeah.
So this map I thought was very interesting when you see the number of Great Britain flags all over it, including, of course, the United States. But they literally had territories everywhere. And I lost count, counting how many countries had separated from them. I was up to over 35 when I stopped counting. So there is a huge long list. This one shows that United Kingdom had 48, France 22, Spain 19, Portugal 8. But you can see when the independence from the United Kingdom was. And this changes periodically, if something else happens. But this was the latest I found. And you can see, again, all over the place. And I'm just slowly scrolling because it shocked me. Gambia, Ghana, Grenada, Hong Kong, India, Iraq, Israel, Jamaica. I knew some of these, but a lot of these were a surprise to me.
Yeah, I did know that Hong Kong was at one point part of Great Britain, and they gave
Yes,
it back to China.
that is correct. So I found this very enlightening. Some of these I had studied, but some of them I had no idea about. Some of them, when I've traveled to the Caribbean islands, I've heard this, but there were a lot that I didn't know. Obviously, I knew this one really well, but I had no idea how big Great Britain's empire was at one point.
So my social studies teacher in 7th grade was Mr. Marr, and you can guess by his name that he was Irish. And this was back at a time when social studies teachers didn't need to be as politically correct as they would be today. But he taught us all that there used to be an expression, the sun never sets on the British Empire. And he said the Irish retort to that was, that's because God doesn't trust them in the dark.
Okay.
So call
I
out
hear
to
that,
Mr.
yeah.
Marr for that.
This is Wikipedia, and again, you can see this is where I started doing counts and gave up over 35 because there were so many that came up, and I really love, there's some that have like 3 countries within one, so it got really interesting. And it was also interesting when it was multiple countries showed up on some of them. But I found it fascinating that there seems to be Independence Days almost every month. And for example, this one, Cameroon lists both the United Kingdom and France. So I can send out these links because I found it kind of fascinating scrolling through. I learned a lot, but I couldn't figure out a good way to condense it all. But almost every country lists some day as an Independence Day. Now, not all of them celebrate that day. Some of them celebrate other days, but almost all of them list some day. But like the Dominican Republic has Independence Day, 2 different dates, and then they have a restoration date. So it's very interesting how it can be 1, 2, 3 days. So that is kind of where my research went. I actually had several other sites as well, but those were the 2 I thought showed it the best. But I did kind of like this map that showed all the places all over and the different countries. Does anyone want to share anything about their Independence Day celebrations or anything that they maybe did that was fun or what have you, or Or the food they ate that maybe ties into maybe there was bacon on your burger that you grilled out in the US.
Cheeseburgers
Yeah,
and
that sounds good
swimming.
to me.
Yeah,
I
we
was just like
swam.
sad, yeah, about Texas. That had to happen on Independence Day. That was terrible, right? So like I was just like, oh my God, Independence Day, everybody's out celebrating, and then next thing you know, like Texas is underwater. So that I was like, and we learned the next day. So I was like, oh man, that was sad. But but Independence Day is always good. It's always like such a blessing. Like it's like Independence Day is such a great day to great day to celebrate. Great day to celebrate. So like it's I love it.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Oh, welcome.
It's pretty cool. Norm
Is
was
there
also
such a thing as vegetarian bacon? I bet you there is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There
there is
is.
tofu bacon. There's vegetarian bacon. There's like baconless bacon. There's a variety
it's
of
really
vegan bacon. Yeah.
Bacon
oh,
bits
bacon
are
bits.
Yeah.
vegan. Did you know that?
Really?
Bacon
Morningstar
bits are
Farms
made
makes
with
some.
soy.
In the bag, it's baked bacon? It's not real bacon?
It's soy bacon. Bacon bits.
Ah, okay.
If it
And I
says
bet
bacon
you
bits,
there's,
that's soy bacon. Woo!
and I
Love
will
it.
bet you there is plant-based bacon.
I'm sure
Yeah,
there
we
is.
do. We have that too.
I'm liking Norm's kosher lamb bacon. That sounds really delicious.
yeah. A friend brought some of that back from Mountain View, California, and it was incredible. I'm also giving a call out to Ken's Diner in Skokie, which makes an incredible bacon burger. It's a kosher restaurant, so they're using beef fry instead of pig meat.
Alexa,
But
how
it
old
is
is Kevin
good.
Bacon?
It's a half-pound burger with it's kind of like the imitation of what you'd have on a fast food place, but diner. So you've got a half-pound burger with lettuce, tomato, the beef fry, and a little bit of sauce, and just excellent.
I've eaten there a couple times. They have wonderful fake ice cream.
Ooh.
Fake ice cream.
It's real ice cream, not made with dairy.
How's that possible? Ice.
Some of
I
it's
guess just
really good.
ice.
They're using Oakley or one of those at Wrigley Field, and it's good. So I think it's Oatly. I'm trying to remember the brand, but it's
What
not
will they
dairy.
think of next?
Don't
That way
know.
you can have a meat meal and you can still have ice cream.
Oat milk, soy milk, banana milk, rice milk, coconut milk.
Banana
Plant-based
milk.
ice cream.
I think I'm stuck on bacon. If anybody has a restaurant called First Watch near them, I highly recommend. And the first time I went there, I was completely surprised that bacon was an appetizer. Who knew? They have
Huh.
this appetizer called Millionaire Bacon. If I'm calling it right. It is to die for. It's like 1/4 inch thick, at least, bacon smothered with a maple syrup glaze that, yeah, just forget breakfast. Just go for the appetizer of bacon and you will be a happy kid. That's all I can say.
Where did
It's
you
like-
say that restaurant was? I need to try that.
Yeah,
called-
First Watch.
First Watch. We have them up in
Oh, we have
Michigan.
them around here. I'll
We
have
have
to
them
try
in
that.
Ohio.
We have them.
We have them now.
There you go. Well, now you got to go.
One in Des Plaines. Now I got to go try it.
Yeah, nothing in New York though. Like
Oh.
it sounds official. Like First Watch. First Watch.
Yes.
What are we watching? Something somebody's
It
watching.
does.
It sounds
Listen.
weird to us.
It's right up there too with the maple donuts with bacon on top of
Right?
that. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Sounds
They-
awful, but it's delicious.
I gotta check that out.
Don't do it every day, but
No.
once
What if you're
every 6
vegetarian?
months.
If
One
you
of the restaurants here makes waffles with bacon in it, crunchy
Oh.
bacon, and they are so good. And my recipe that I sent over, I don't know if you saw it or not, Cathy, but I was going to add that twist to it, that if you fried up bacon, got it really, really, really crispy, and then added it to the batter before you put it in the thing at the last minute, it will be to die for.
Yeah, you talk maple. If you do Brussels sprouts cut in half with maple syrup, and you add your
Roast them.
your bacon or your beef fry or your kosher lamb bacon. Just roast that in the oven. Comes out really well. I haven't had it with the pig bacon, but with the beef or the lamb bacon, it comes out really well.
I just figured out we have a lot of those in Richmond, but I haven't been to one yet. So I'll have to check it out.
That Richmond, Virginia?
Virginia.
Okay. I was born in Richmond, Indiana.
Almost.
How far is that from the capital? Is that close?
I'm about 2 hours south of DC
Oh, wow, nice.
without traffic.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
there
right.
are parts
That
of
never happened.
Virginia.
Yeah.
There are parts of Virginia that are not around DC.
This is
Like
true. My
South
friend's in Fredericksburg, so
Mhm.
Once you kind of get north of Fredericksburg, you're really in that Northern Virginia crazy traffic.
yep.
All right, Aaron, the gauntlet has been laid. Norman is beating you to the dad jokes tonight.
And dad jokes are supposed to be clean. I don't know if that's qualifies.
Well, I haven't been adding dad jokes, but I have been adding user stories about Kevin Bacon.
Thank
In
you.
fact,
How-
FYI, just to tee you up for some
Oh,
user stories.
thank
Kevin
you.
Bacon and some fun pictures.
How can you
As
tell
Kevin
that you're
Bacon, I
like-
want to
Yeah, I want to so that I
Vegan
can.
bacon.
enjoy vegan bacon.
We were just talking vegan bacon. There we go. Exactly.
Most
That's pretty
sustainable
good.
choices. I like how that's
Okay.
written. Sustainable choices. I really like that.
Sustainable choices. Yes.
Yes, contribute to product discovery, product backlog refinement, stakeholder alignment. I like the word alignment. The alignment
There we
is
go.
good. Yeah. It's the alignment is it has like it's almost like you when you think alignment instead of like sequence or sequence of events or like that word is very well used. I think. Thank you.
Okay. So just thinking about a little bit of acceptance criteria for that. What do you think? I've put some in there. They're not numbered correctly, but you will get the gist.
I
Okay.
was
Given
hoping-
that the consumer is a vegan, when they eat bacon, the bacon should be made of soy and spices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So acceptance criteria, they should leave a smile on the client's faces, and it should be smile. There you go. Cathy knows she's smiling. I like it. Keep smiling, Cathy. I love it.
There we go.
Love it.
I'm
Love
just
it.
hoping that Kevin didn't have a daughter that he named vegan.
That's funny. A daughter. Wait, would a daughter or a son?
Do we want to know any functional test cases for Kevin Bacon and eating the bacon?
I would volunteer to be QA on that project.
Okay.
There you go.
Saying, got
That's good.
some functional test cases if anybody's interested about Kevin Bacon eating vegan bacon. Okay.
Positive or negative test cases?
You know, I'm
Only
not-
positive. Only positive.
You're very good. Okay, so this is Kevin Bacon submits a user story. He adds vegan bacon to the celebration menu. He mentors a new VA because, you know, that's Kevin
That's
Bacon.
good. That's the way.
Kevin Bacon triggers a footloose dance animation because he's so excited about the vegan bacon and mentoring. He then goes on to eat chocolate almond raspberry bar.
Okay.
And while attending a 4th of July launch party, while he's there, he reviews a VA user story draft and then requests a storyboard update. Kind of a sad ending.
A sad ending.
A sad ending. We need a new ending for Kevin Bacon.
I think it has to end in a song because, you know, You got the
Yeah.
bacon band going
Oh, there
on.
we
Yeah,
You
it's
got to
go.
Kevin
end in a
Bacon, the
song.
dancer.
End of the
Yeah.
song.
Here's your song. Why did Kevin Bacon not want to eat his bacon? He was holding out for a hero.
Oh, nice.
Oh, oh, excellent timing, Norman.
Thank you.
There we go.
I was just thinking, as Kevin Bacon, I need to taste the bacon to see if it is vegan.
Okay. Well, let me give you
Oh,
some.
come on, that didn't get any. Oh,
Oh, Aaron,
Wah, wah.
I like that one.
sometimes.
That was good
I
too.
like it.
I even
like
did it as a user story.
Well, I'm telling you what, here's some feedback from Kevin Bacon.
It's to see
That's
if it's
case one.
delicious, not to see
Sometimes
if
it's
it's
hard to
vegan.
tell.
Good answer.
No
But
connection
no, hold
found.
on. Hold on one second. That was
Direct
oh,
connection,
look,
objective.
here we go. So Kevin Bacon said, let's add a test case for surprise breakdance when his sprint goal is met. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, true.
And he
Also
says
well
the test cases were Footloose approved. Okay.
Footloose. Footloose.
Oh,
I like it.
look what Zed put in there. Wow, I like it. You're going
I
all
like it,
in.
Rosetta. Yep.
Very,
Oh,
very good.
who doesn't
Direct
love test
connection,
cases?
indirect. Ooh, any 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon in there? Okay. All
7
right.
degrees, Kevin Bacon.
Okay. So Cathy, while I come up with a few more little agile working experiences before we go to the, it's not a game, it's kind of a game. And Aaron, Steph, did you want to share any recipes quickly at all for any of these delicious things? Maybe at least one?
I certainly can. I had a couple recipes that were just yummy, and I'm going to hold a couple recipes for the end because they make me just way too hungry to
Okay.
proceed. So I have to end with those. So here we go. So Beverly, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're working on the chocolate and almond factor first because we have to start with the yummies and add to it as we go. So my question, Beverly, have you made these almond flour chocolate cookies? Is Beverly still on with us? Beverly, Beverly, Beverly.
She's going by Bev on the meeting
Oh,
because I'm
there we go.
Beverly.
Oh, there you go. Excellent. I did see that. Sorry, even though my
No,
Zoom
no,
wasn't
that's
working.
okay.
Bev, are you still with us? She's with us, but she's not talking. Well, okay. So anyways, these cookies look absolutely to die for. And anything that, you throw a little bit of dark chocolate chips and maple syrup, how can that be bad? So we will include these with the results of tonight. So you will get all these ingredients listing and directions. One of these, let me see if it's this one, had a note. Yes. Okay. If you know me, or you soon will know me, the note that I laughed at the most was storage, that you could actually store the cookies in a jar in the fridge for up to a week, or freeze them in an airtight container up to a month, because cookies like this one won't last a week, nor a month. Even if they were
That's
in my
funny.
freezer, they would not last. But they do have some options. If you're looking for, if you don't like coconut, you can replace that. And I have done in the past an oil-free. I usually do it in brownies. I have used applesauce. I have not tried a mashed banana. I'm going to have to try that. And I know from brownies, applesauce works great. I haven't tried it in cookies. Has anybody tried that alternative oil option?
Applesauce works well in cookies.
I do. Okay, I'm gonna have to try applesauce. I think that's very cool. I love it in my brownies. I'm gonna have to try it in my cookies now. So, thank you, Bev, for this yummy concoction. And number 2 yummy concoction that again gives us chocolate and almonds. Awesome. A vegan, and we've talked about that already. We're hitting all the numbers here. A vegan chocolate pie. So she gives us our crust. This is kind of cool. out of almonds. How cool is that? Didn't even really read this as I was typing it in. Now I'm reading it and getting really hungry. Unsweetened chocolate, bananas, dates. I have not done a lot of cooking with dates, but I'm going to have to. And I have to find my food processor because apparently that hasn't made it with me since I came back from Alabama a few years back. But I do like this. I like any kind of cookie crust kind of. I do it with a chocolate mint ice cream pie. We'll have to throw that in sometime too. And I do like her note on here, to get a smooth edge, use a pie or knife heated with hot water. Works awesome. And Marci, touching on what Marci talked to us about, we do have chocolate waffles. I know this one is showing whipped cream and strawberries, but easily can be replaced by crushed
Yes,
almonds.
I was suggesting chocolate covered nuts on top, or like I said, frying up. I have done this. I've actually fried up bacon, made sure that it was degreased completely and very crispy, and added it to the bacon, added it to the batter at the very last minute so it doesn't get soggy, and then put it in my waffle maker, and it is delicious. So
very, very
that's another
cool.
twist.
Awesome, awesome. And I am going to stop there and save the last couple for the end. So I punt back to you, Steph.
And then I'm going to pivot over to Erin. Erin, did you have some fun things to share with us? Okay, the game is guess what Erin is saying.
Okay. What? Take your ears, your fingers out of your ears, Steph. I was saying we could cover or top those chocolate waffles with just some Hershey's chocolate. You know, that Hershey's chocolate that's behind Cathy there.
Yes, this
in
way.
her background in that.
I'm going to need to go raid the chocolate when we get done with this
know.
meeting before I go to my board meeting. That's all I have to say. My choir board meeting, we're doing budgets, so I'm going to need chocolate to get through that.
Just don't eat it in front of buttons.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, no. No, I'm very careful of her. She has blueberries. She loves blueberries, so I've got those for her.
So we've mentioned it a couple of times. Hopefully sound works and everything.
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
Okay.
Okay.
Boy, does that bring back memories. I was in swing choir in high school. We did a routine to this. If you heard me singing and saw my lips counting 1, 2, 3, 4, that's when we do the spins, and my partner would do a lift with me. And I had the cute guy, Danny. I was so happy I got Danny for that dance.
Oh, at a later point, you'll have to tell us all about Danny. You don't have to do it here, but color us intrigued about Danny.
So, if you were wondering where
that.
this 7 degrees of bacon come from, we are going to follow that through some movies, starting with the ones we just saw. I think you remember the story of Footloose, a boy named Ren, played by Kevin Bacon, that moves from the city to a small town. It was controlled by a um, um, minister that had outlawed dancing in the city. And Ren thought this was, violation of their civil rights and self-expression, and fought to bring dancing back to the city. So one of his co actors in the thing, you can see
Co-stars.
co-stars. Thank you. In this, you can see there, he's up there on the top right, dancing with Sarah Jessica Parker, who played a girl that lived in the town named Rusty. And if you remember, Ren taught a boy who was like a cowboy, always wore the cowboy hat, who told him that he couldn't dance. So most of the movie, Ren was teaching this boy to dance, and Rusty was his girl. So hope that brings back some memories. Now we can follow Sarah Jessica Parker to her next movie, was released in the very next year, and that which she was an army brat that named Janie, moved to another town and befriended a friend named Lynn, played by Helen Hunt. And they got into trouble together. Now we follow Helen Hunt to Matthew Broderick, who starred in Project X. And I didn't look up, the story of that or how they got together, but you follow Matthew Broderick to Christopher Walken in Biloxi Blues. And that sergeant that is standing there, that is Christopher Walken, Sergeant Toomey. And, Matthew Broderick played, I know there's more to the name, I don't know his full character name, but Eugene. You can see in the yellow there, the Army made Eugene a man, but Betsy gave him basic training. Woohoo! So, Biloxi Blues, released in 1988. Then we're going to follow Christopher Walken to Batman Returns in 1992. Did you remember that Christopher Walken was in this movie? So, do you know what his character was? I'll give you a hint. That's Christopher Walken up in the top right with the gray hair and everything. Remember Max Shrek? The Shrek department stores, and he wanted to put an electric power plant right in the heart of the city, and he got opposition from the mayor of the city and Bruce Wayne. So he's pictured there with Michelle Pfeiffer, who played, forget the character's name, Lily. What was her last name?
Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, and her alter ego, Catwoman.
Selena Kyle.
She helped
Rena
Penguin?
Kyle.
Did
Okay.
Christopher Walken help the Penguin?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did, right? Bruce Wayne didn't like that, or did he? He liked that, right?
I don't know. You could say that.
Thank
But
you.
We'll follow Michelle to Renee Zellweger, who starred together in White Oleander, which is a flower if you don't see the flower right in there. And that more about mother-daughter relationships and such. And then Renee starred with Kevin Bacon in My One and Only. They were a married couple. Talked about Anne Duvet, who got divorced, had two teenage boys, moved to another town, met. He was oh, I forget Kevin's his first name in there, but it was Duvet. He played a band director, and he had a wandering eye. So through 7 movies, you can, go 1 degree away from Kevin, follow his stars, and right back to Kevin.
Pretty awesome.
I do agree. Everything revolves around Kevin Bacon. So this is awesome.
And by the way, if you didn't know, it truly is. Today is Kevin Bacon's birthday, and he turned 67 today. But that series of 7 movies followed 25 years of Kevin Bacon's career.
Angela, look at her. Picture taken with Batista, Strax. Awesome. Kidnap Kevin Bacon, which is a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen, by the way, the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special with Kevin Bacon. It's amazing, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, I wanted to finish that series of films and that with A Few Good Men. And when we were planning this, the ladies here reminded me Kevin Bacon was in A Few Good Men. Do you remember what part he had in that movie?
The prosecutor?
Not the prosecutor. That was Tom Cruise.
Sergeant, he's a sergeant, right? He's an officer, correct, sir?
Well, yes, and he was an attorney. He was not the prosecutor, the
defense attorney.
Defense attorney. He defended Jack Nicholson.
Wow.
So,
Few Good Men. Thank you.
You good men. Let's see. I'm just looking at a couple other ones, but Aaron, I think you picked the best ones. The 7 degrees. Yeah, A Few Good Men. You could go from Kevin Bacon to Footloose, then to A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise, and then Tom Cruise was in Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman was in Sleepers with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was in Ocean's 11 with George Clooney. George Clooney was in Up in the Air with Anna Kendrick, and Anna Kendrick was in My One and Only with Renee. So bam, there you go. Awesome. So Aaron, while you were showing us all of these fantastic movies, I was adding to the chat is our to some of the ideas to expand upon that. So the first one was ideas for applying 7 degrees in your work. So Cathy or Marci, do you want to talk at all about applying 7 degrees in your work? Marci, you wanna go for it?
Sure, I can start out. So one of the things that I thought of when talking about this topic was how business analysis has evolved. When I started out, the title was business analyst, and we fought because a lot of business partners and the company I've worked for 27 years didn't think there was any value in the work we did. So kind of went through all that as IIBA was coming up and all of those types of things. And then things started morphing, and you saw the Babcock go through several different versions. They've added different things. People have gone from working in a waterfall, very long project that'll span a year or more, and all of a sudden you're doing projects that you put out a little increment, maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in 1 week. So Agile came into it. In that morph, I know personally, I became shifted to be a product owner. Now, what I did as a product owner was basically the same thing. The only extra nuance I had is that I managed the work and kind of, put all the stories together and all that kind of stuff and changed how I wrote my requirements, but I was still doing all the conversations with the business, doing the requirements, writing the stories, all of that type of thing. Then the next shift came along. I became product owner slash product manager. So now I have the authority, so to speak, to prioritize the work and say no to things theoretically, although our company doesn't really let me say no, but theoretically, I should be able to say no and turn work down and have that prioritization and say, no, this isn't adding value to the customer. Um, that keeps morphing. I don't know what the next thing is, but I know one of the next things that we're seeing, at least in my work, and I'm taking a training class right now called Galvanized, and they're actually showing us how to use AI more effectively to write stories, to write acceptance criteria, to write test cases, to write test questions, to do all of the things we used to do. And yes, it makes it more efficient, but believe me, we found a lot of bugs in it too. So we're not going away anytime soon, but I do think that some of this technology is going to become a partner. And I have a feeling that'll lead to the next morph. They're talking paired programming in this class, but we actually had one team that paired a person with the AI to see how that would work as a pair. And that's been a really interesting experiment. So as you can see, these 7 degrees, but the root of everything I still do, no matter what the title is still business analysis and those good relationships, those good things of elicitation, of being able to facilitate, of being able to dig in, being able to translate between business and technology. Those root things that are part of IIBA are really a core to me being able to do any of these positions. So that's kind of my take on it. How about all of you? Do you have similar stories or similar changes that have happened in your roles? Or did
Or
I
you
put everyone to sleep?
So,
I can talk. Uh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name Piola Aline. So I used to be a business analyst and I segued into project management and was recently laid off. But I have seen the evolution of the role of business analysts more from the requirements, the I don't know, user stories, et cetera, to now where they're requiring Python, a lot of more technical skills. And I actually had a conversation with a gentleman who was a business analyst and segued into the software development side. And he said, and I told him, what has occurred. And he bluntly said, I don't want to do business analyst work as a developer. I don't understand why they're combining the two roles. I said, well, maybe it's to save money. I don't know. He says, I don't want to do that work at all. I left that work so I could just, focus on development. So you're Marci, are you doing development?
Development in what way? Yes,
Like
I
using
do.
Python, you use Python
No,
or use
I don't do actual coding, but in this class I'm taking, I am learning some Java and stuff. I just literally rotated teams 3 weeks ago, so I'm learning an all new technology stack, an all new team, and so forth. And that team was going through a certification project process and starting a 2 week hands-on training class and then 6 weeks of embedded coaching. So I had everything dumped at me at once. So I'm taking the team through certification and cleaning up the fact that their previous digital product manager was on medical leave for 4.5 months. So I am cleaning everything up so that it passes certification and trying to learn the team and trying to learn the technology and going through training. So
Okay,
at this point,
what
I'm not learning the
industry?
coding part. Eventually, I will. I came from an
Yeah,
extreme team and I did know the extreme coding. So,
okay. What industry are you in, if I may ask?
insurance.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so I've seen the evolution, and on the project management side, I am a certified Scrum Master. I think most of you are probably, and a certified Scrum product owner. And so it's interesting and fascinating, the evolution of these roles. And is it driven by, need to save money and combine a number of roles? I guess I would ask the team that question. Why are we seeing kind of a combination of analysts and requiring analysts to do coding. Have you
Makes
guys seen
sense.
that? Have you
If you
seen
could
that?
if you can find it, it would make sense. I mean, that would be synergy in a lot of cases. Even though the BA doesn't typically do the development, they'll do a proof of concept. But if you can find a BA that can do the coding, you're still going to need separate QA but
Well, yes, and the salaries don't reflect that. I will tell you right now.
yeah,
So I'm just looking at it from, I mean, having segued into project management role and having, business analysts, work for me, and also um it just really it's really interesting. I guess you could say it's an evolution, but I think it's not necessarily an evolution because the salaries don't reflect that. Because to me, I saw some salaries for BA from about 70 to 100, and then what the skill set requirement was so much more technical. And I was just like, that salary needs to be a lot bigger. They need to pay so it's like, what, are you trying to get the business analyst cheap? So I've just seen that those job descriptions and the salary to me is not reflective of that increase in technology that they're requiring the analyst to have. They don't want to pay the analyst.
if they can get
So
away with it, they'll do it.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. It's kind of
Yep.
like now you can have what is it, a nurse anesthesiologist versus a doctor who's anesthesiologist
That's
and get
right.
that nurse a lot cheaper. So I'm seeing that, since I mean I haven't looked for a job for the last 6 years, so I'm just seeing this evolution. So
What
anyway, I
I'm
didn't be
to play off
long-winded.
what you're saying, what I've seen is, and this will date myself, my initial dabbling in business analysis way back when, mid 80s to mid 90s, we were not business analysts, we were systems analysts. And
Yeah.
back then, I don't know if any of you had any experience with the information engineering tools, but it was all computer aided software engineering was the big thing that was going on. So KnowledgeWare had their information engineering workbench, which helped you kind of automate or put in one repository, if you will, your data dictionary, your your ERDs, your requirements, and then Texas Instruments with their information engineering facility came on board in the late 80s, and their claim to fame, and again, things have to start, and you need to have several iterations before it becomes anything worth it, is they wanted to go from requirements to software. So put all your requirements in, put your data dictionary in, put your ERD in, put everything into their tool. You push the magic code generation button, and voila, it'll work, right? Well, it was nothing but spaghetti code. And I worked government contracts back then, but it was the latest, buzzword. Case was everywhere. And then it started evolving, and it evolved into object-oriented design. And then that, uh, evolved again, and that's where we started seeing Agile and Babok and all that stuff coming out of that. So I find it interesting that what you start with way back when, just keeps getting newer and newer iterations. So I don't know if any of you guys have had any experience with any of those first round tools, but it certainly seems like, now I know we've played around with things like Chat GPT, where you put in your user story and say, give me code in whether it's Python or COBOL or C, C++, and Chat GPT will kick you out code. So I find it fascinating how we kind of watch the evolution, and you kind of rinse and repeat a little bit from my perspective.
Is everyone on the call working today as a BA or product owner?
Paola, I'm also in the job market. My last job I was at for 22 years, so it's been a while since I've been looking.
Okay.
And so I had a business architect title, but I was doing business architecture, product management, and product owner stuff. But also use like SQL skills and stuff like that to facilitate stuff with the QA team or do analysis to help figure out how we should be steering the product. So we did a little bit of everything in that one role. And the thing that I've seen, especially in the last couple of years, is, before if you were a BA, you were a BA. And now there's so many flavors of it, and every company has started calling things differently. So a business architect at one company may be junior level, but it's almost director level at another company. And
But
so
doesn't it depend on the industry too?
yeah.
Yeah.
To Jennifer's point, hi y'all, I'm Beverly. I live in the Chicago area. I know Marci from way back, doing CBAP training and stuff, but I was with the company here for 17 and a half years. And so Jennifer, God bless, it is a tough market out there, and the salaries do not match what, especially because I started there before the IT crash. I started there in 2000, before the IT crash. So my salary was something. And since I left that job in December of 2017, I've had 3 jobs, 3 different industries, which is great because I've learned 3 different industries. I mean, pharmacy at Walgreens, policing data at a data analytical company for policing data reporting. And I'm back in an internal IT role for a veterinary consolidator, which with all the animals, we're like, yes. But what's interesting is, as listening to y'all talk is, and I'm not from Chicago originally. This y'all is from Atlanta, so. But I have been in Chicagoland for 25 and a half years. But so what I have focused on a lot over my career, even when I was at CCC, and Marci's employer was a customer back in the day, but I always leaned into this full stack definition, even before that was something that would be a really good and important marketing tool for yourself. Because what we're talking about is a BA who does everything, beginning to end. And I did it because a lot of the extra work I was doing wasn't part of my job description. I just did it because there was a need. There wasn't anybody doing that work. And it kept me from getting bored. But now it's funny because in the position that I'm in, I was hired as an IT business analyst for a veterinary consolidator, as I said, that started in 2009. And they are just building their corporate IT organization. So the IT business analyst role was mainly for process improvement. And so that has been tons of fun to step in and learn how everybody's doing making their business work. But I learned very early on that I needed to slow my roll because not everybody wants to be told a better way to do their job. So I had come from a very tough, go, go, go environment, and I really did have to slow down a lot. And I had to find other things to do. So one of the things that my boss wants me to work on this year is doing some getting some certifications or taking some training on customer support, because I am scanning through all of our support desk tickets that come from our clinics in the field, from our 150 corporate employees, and making sure that those tickets aren't sitting and not being addressed, and doing a lot of the configuration and assisting and helping. So my title went from IT business analyst to IT business and corporate support or application support analyst. So I have this ridiculously long title, but at least it does define more of what I'm doing. But I also, sorry for all of this time that I've taken, but I think it's very reflective of the industry that we're in now, or just the way the economy is now, the way corporate America is now. And yeah, everybody wants more for less. And I am flat up making 35% less than I did in 2017 still.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's funny you said that. I had an interview before this meeting, and the salary, I had to like restrain myself. So low. So yeah, it's interesting.
So Kevin Bacon would like to give you some advice on applied wisdom to your growth to improve your skills to get to a higher paying role. If anybody's interested in Kevin's Bacon's thoughts.
Well, I was making a substantial amount of money, and when I say substantial, what they offered was about 50,000 less than what I was making my last role, which was in May.
Yeah.
So
Hard.
So what does Kevin Bacon say? Embrace your versatility, stay curious and keep learning, build meaningful connections. It's not just the 6 or 7 degrees. Take smart risk, own your narrative, and bonus insight from executives. A recent survey revealed 5 themes for career advancement. Own it, own your career path, find value in every assignment, take risk, build resilience, and stay purpose-driven. Okay. Thank you, Kevin Bacon. You keep giving. All right. Anybody else want to share? Okay, that's very quiet. All right. So do we want to talk about advancing your career path from an analyst to an owner to a manager? Or do we want to have another recipe? The choice is yours. The choice is yours. What would everybody like?
The job.
The job? You want to talk about the job of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
Okay. I just love this thing, by the way. It's pretty fun. We did Monsters not too long ago, and that was not as much fun in hindsight as Kevin Bacon. All right.
Oh, so Bill wants to be an actor.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Could happen.
It could happen.
Crazier things have happened.
Okay. So here's the theme of this movie, right? So the riveting movie is Kevin Bacon, The Product Path, from specs to strategy, one sprint at a time. So we have options as we're doing this, as we're playing the game. We can make the concepts are Hollywood style connection webs. We can do a movie set progression, a red carpet path, 6-degree org chart, a movie poster parody. So what I did is the movie poster parody and went that direction because I thought that might be fun. So here we go. Here's the product path, starred Kevin Bacon. Act 1, he's the business analyst, the BA, he is the investigator. Act 2, he's the product owner, aka the prioritizer. And Act 3, he's finally the product manager, the visionary. So would anybody like to explore or expand upon any of these acts? Aaron, did you want to expand upon the business analyst, the investigator at all? He's looking kind of serious here. Yes, no? You want to go for it?
No.
No? Oh, no. Anybody want to take Act 1?
I'll take Act 1.
Okay, there you go. Go for it. Take Act 1.
Okay, hold on.
Is that too big? Is this big enough for you?
Nope. Go bigger.
Go bigger. Okay, we're going big. We're zooming in.
There you go.
The dramatic sound in the back. Go for it, Belle.
Okay. Requirements document. Capture business needs, user stories, and functional specs. Process flow diagrams. Visual maps of current and future state workflows. Stakeholder interview notes. Insights gathered from business users and SMEs. Gap analysis matrix identifies what's missing between current and desired outcome. Use case scenarios describes how users interact with the system. Kevin's role? The detective in a procedural drama, digging through data, interviewing witnesses, stakeholders, and building the case requirements.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun,
Kevin
dun.
Bacon. All right.
Well done,
So,
Bill.
so we say, why do we care about the artifacts? So in today's Agile discussion, we were talking about going from what we used to do, and Cathy gave a really good example of back in the day, which all of us have a back in the day, whether it was yesterday or longer. And the artifacts that we used to really for that role, say for instance, this business analyst. And then today, the difference in technology and approaches that we use still in this role. So does anybody have a good example of something that as a VA that they've used, the investigator back in the day and now are doing something different? Anybody want to give an example?
I mean, I can go.
Okay, perfect.
This is Katie. So back in the day, you had a full-on business requirements document. It would be a gazillion pages.
Huge.
It would contain your technical and your functional. It would contain, your current state versus your future state. It had everything laid out. It took forever to put together. Half the people didn't read it that actually signed off on it. I mean, to be real, it was a lot. It contained a lot of information. Wasn't necessarily the most user friendly for people that weren't in our roles. You know, the business folks oftentimes were signing off on things they didn't understand. And now we have use cases and we have test cases and we have things that are, we have write acts and we have other like quick hit type artifacts that's easier to be audited. It can more easily change, right? As we're adapting and we have our reviews and all of these things. It's, you don't have to fill out this formal documentation like it once was. And so that's my.
And when you think about it, like the requirements document has gone from that Excel documents, and you think like requirements traceability matrix, right? Like here's the requirements that at that time didn't have Excel where you could collaborate jointly in it at the same time, right? So you always had the concern that the data wasn't, accurate and up to date and all of that. And so now we have a lot of different tools that help us along with capturing the requirements in the user stories. Say, for instance, I'm here in Lucid. I'm not actually logged into Jira, but I could. And this is just a representation of using a tool to capture requirements, acceptance criteria. Everything is linked, mapped, etc. And you're able to visually see not just each of these stories, but how they fulfill the roadmap and all of those types of things. Is anybody using something similar to Jira, Confluence or Atlassian Jira to help with that?
Oh, I'm using it.
So
I'm using it.
So we've come a long way from an
Usability.
Excel document to capture that
Yeah,
versus the requirements document.
correct. And in Act One, it changes from the investigator to prioritizer, right? So the
Yes,
stakeholder has completely different notes. The gap analysis matrix also shows very different. Like for example, you're going from specific process flow to then a burn down chart. So work's actually started inside that requirement gathering. So the requirement gathering is now essentially is part of the solution that which you're part of, like
right.
essentially.
That's excellent. That is excellent. So it's like you're just shifting these documents, which are the artifacts that we in the original style, but we're still using them. So you're not getting rid of the types of investigative work or the prioritization that you did before. You're just morphing them and using them differently. And you're also now, I don't know if in your work you're starting to leverage more of the AI capabilities to help with this. Like I have Copilot up here, and all of these fun things, by the way, that well, I think they're fun. You can leave the decision to yourself if you think they're fun, but all of this was created using Copilot. All of the images, all of this stuff was Copilot with just asking the right questions. And so from a BA in taking the artifacts and what's in the Babak and all of that, knowing that I need to do this work, you can shift it, still knowing that this has to happen, but leverage technology, which isn't always correct, right? And you still have to be thoughtful and pragmatic and really do your work, because take, for instance, here. It created this information for me, and I've been slowly curating it based on what it gave it. But like this image here, like if you said, I need an image to help in the presentation of this to the stakeholders so that they can take our amazing BA work and translate it into something that's interesting to them. But look, it spelled half of these things wrong. And so it's like, it can help you, but you also have to, make sure that you're asking the right questions or telling it to spell check in USA English and all different types of things, right? Just to get the benefit, but it does help you to at least get going on where you're at. Plus, it seems to like Kevin Bacon a lot because it gives me a lot of what's not to love there.
That's not
So I think that I'll take a stab at it.
Okay.
I've been a business analyst for 20 years, and about half of that as a contractor, and the other half as an employee. And I think, there's a set role for a business analyst. It evolves, it moves around, it's different at every company, it's different sometimes at every department even. But like, I've not been a developer, and I've never felt that I needed to be a developer and learn technical stacks. But I understand them enough that I can work with a developer and speak their language, and work with a project manager and speak their language, and work with the business sponsor and business stakeholders and speak their language, because I came from the business side. I think my philosophy on documentation is do just what's needed, but not more than that. I don't like to do documentation for its own sake. So, and it's really focusing on what are the needs of the business sponsor. So if they say, oh, I need all this documentation, great. Tell me why. What is it you're looking to get out of it? And how interested are you actually going to be in reading it and approving it and those kinds of things. And, for small projects, you need less documentation. For bigger ones, you need more. And it's varied over the years. But I think the focus on what does the business actually need rather than what are the documentation artifacts is more useful. And I think in terms of, there are different kinds of business analysts, and it varies by industry, it varies by company. So if you're somebody who enjoys developing as well, and you want a role that combines those two roles, there are companies that do that. If you want to be, part project manager and part business analyst, there are roles out there that do that. And if you just want to be a business analyst, and you can specialize within that as well. So I think a lot of it depends on what you're looking for. Yes, it might mean you have to switch departments or roles or companies or whatever. But if you are clear on what you're looking for and what your skills are and how you want to grow and how you want to contribute, you can find it out there. I think there's lots of jobs out there, but it's at this point favoring experienced people over like new college grads. But unemployment is, near an all-time low, and puts business analysts in a pretty good place. There are things like AI that we're starting to incorporate. And some of that gets into confidentiality. You don't want to take a client. I work at a law firm. So we can't put client information into Copilot, for example, because then it could be exposed and it's no longer confidential. And so, we have a policy about that and a separate, uh, it's called Harvey, and we contract with the provider of that to implement it and do so in a way that it does not take in and publish information that we share with it. That's just internal. So I think all these things make business analysis a very flexible and exciting career with lots of room for growth and lots of room for good salaries and for partnering. That's kind of been my take on it.
That's
Wow,
great.
that's beautiful.
Go
Thank you.
ahead.
So now I actually have a question. Now, how does the facilitation really work now? So, we're like, are we capturing requirements? Like, are we just documenting what the requirements are, or are we just or being part of the entire the sprint burn down, the burn up, sprint burn down, burn up, and being able to calculate those metrics, and then including the KPIs. So is that like the entire scheme of organization?
For where I've been,
Yeah,
it's not been. In fact, every place I've been has been its own version of hybrid.
Mhm.
right.
None of them are, maybe the first one was totally waterfall, but after that, there's a component of Agile in it, but it's not full Agile, it's not Scrum, it's their own version. They want this document and maybe those other documents, depending.
Wow. And so but do we write the documents themselves, like, or does that happen like thank you so much, sir. Like, and does that like do you just say that auto scribe those documents?
I typically would set up meetings to achieve the goals that I'm trying to. Let's say it's
Mhm.
eliciting business requirements. I'll figure out who I need to meet with, schedule meetings, put agendas together, what I want to cover with them. They'll be the subject matter experts. I will run the meeting. I'll document my meeting notes that captures everything. Lately, there's AI that does that as well. It has some limitations. It has some advantages. It's repetitious, but it captures things sometimes better than I can. So it all depends. I do a mix of my notes and its notes. But I'm really looking for how do we get to the next step in the project.
And does that work with, and so in the project, how about adding more repetitions to that, like to the cadence where you build even stronger relationships, establish a client relationship even higher, and continue learning, right? Continue learning, and then being able to understand the business logic more. That always impresses the business, right? Oh wow, this guy knows the business, he knows the technology, and then start to develop yourself. Maybe starting some testing yourself. That really impresses the client. Somebody that's able to do all the above, something like that, right, sir?
I think the key is not so much can you do everything, but
Hmm.
do you do what you do very well?
Hmm.
And, learning what the personalities and expectations are and helping manage those expectations. Um, so sometimes, the personalities work out especially well. Sometimes they don't. There's
Yes, sir.
it's going to vary, but if you are in a place where you fit personality wise and you're curious and you ask good questions, um, you'll get to what you need. And people will say, wow, uh, he did this and this and this. Wow, we've got the A team going here. This is great.
Thank you, sir. But how do you ask the right questions? How do you say that in a backlog you prioritize the top highest backlog items prioritize the backlog items. You do an elevator pitch relatively quickly and say that, okay, the product owner to the product, or as a product owner, business analyst, you say, I'm going to present to you an A1 product, and where the acceptance criteria is absolutely phenomenal. The clients are going to be so happy with what you've provided there. But how do you ask the right questions essentially?
Well, let's say I'm trying to gather requirements and I'm trying to prioritize those requirements. I'm not coming up with the requirements, they are. I'm just asking about it and documenting it and then taking it further and saying, oh, well, you said A. Now A could lead to B or C. Which one is more important to you and why and how? And walk me through the workflow. Why do you do what you do with it? What do you need the system to do? How will the system help you? And which of these you've listed, 20 goals. Let's talk about which of these are high priority, which are medium, which are low, and let them determine those answers. And then you're just documenting it, you're facilitating it, but you're not deciding it. And so when you come back and share the results of what they told you, of course they like it.
For me, like going that in depth, why observing the whys, 5 whys, the how, the what, the when, is really, really, like, yeah, it's phenomenal. Like I haven't been able to go that in depth and being able to discover process flow that deep. But yeah, that really helped a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Thank you.
My pleasure.
That was excellent, Rick.
Thank you.
Does anybody want to expand upon that? Or I've been flipping through different screens as the conversation has flowed to try to, not bridge it, but to kind of show that evolution. So the last thing you were talking about is like the BA role, right? Gathering requirements, analyzing workflows, translating the business needs, so that way the business owners, the stakeholders can know that you've heard them and that you're on the same page with it. So let me see. It is, Aaron, are we almost out of time? Mr. Aaron?
Yes, we are. We have 3 minutes technically.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay.
7:27.
Oh wow. Time has flown. Just like a good Kevin Bacon movie.
Indeed.
It just ends too quickly.
And great company, of course. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, absolutely. So I think we've gone through a couple of these scenarios or discussions between Act 1, 2, and 3, and you can really see the evolution from starting out and using the tools that you need to do to evolve into your next step, as well as how do you take that like from a career path, like how do you morph and transition your way up the ladder to ultimately the product manager, if that is the role that you're looking to have. And then here was just a couple tips on making the transition. Really, a lot of it is right, leveraging your VA skills, having confidence in yourself, finding your 7 degrees of people that can support you, looking for mentors and visibility either within your own team or like this. We're all here as one big community to learn and grow from each other. So questions like that are like the perfect setting because we all can learn from just hearing about other people's experiences and their advice. So
And I think when I think about like that BA to project manager transition, we really talk about it as a spectrum that goes from tactical to strategic. So the more strategic you get, the more you're on the project manager side, and the more tactical you're down like at the BA side.
That's perfect. It's perfect. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I know we're at time, but does anybody have a quick minute for at least one more recipe? One more, one more.
One more recipe and one last question about that part. Okay, can we share the whole sequence of events where, like, as a product owner, what Kevin Bacon does, or not as a product owner, essentially the core business analysis requirements, especially with the burn up and burn down charts?
Sure. Yeah, we can get this materials packaged up to go out. And Aaron, I'm going to have you help me stay honest here and make sure that I give you everything. And then thank you for that request. I love it when people want materials. And then Cathy has another amazing recipe.
So we'll end with make sure can you guys hear me? Did I unmute?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Oh, sorry. Where did it go? Do you see
Definitely.
my screen or did I lose it?
I see it.
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
drooling.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so best way to end it, there's 2 recipes in here, and I will add some more to what you get for the email that we send out. But what a better way to end it with chocolate covered bacon with almonds. Didn't know that was a thing, but wow. I don't know if I'm hungry or if my stomach's hurting from the concept of all these together. But just like it sounds, bacon, chocolate, and almond. Who knew it was a thing? We're going to have to try it. And then if you want something a little perhaps less caloric, you can just do straight almond bacon. It sounds like a play on bacon bits when I read it. A wonderful marinade to soak your almonds in and such, and then why not add bacon to it? And it's also vegan, so who knew? Everything's good if you can make it vegan and if it's tasty. So I will add a couple other recipes to this mix. So we'll keep that as teasers. So look for the email and enjoy. And we completely thank you guys for all the interaction today and the dialogue and the questions and the interaction. It's wonderful seeing new faces this time. We hope you guys join us again when we kick our email out to you guys. We will have the date for our next one. We do it quarterly, and you get a flavor of how didn't mean that. Anyways, you know where my head's at now with flavors. Anyways, but we'll give you a heads up of date and time and a little sneak peek at the theme. So you kind of have a view of how we roll now in Agile after hours. And if you guys have any input, anything you'd like to kind of dabble on and touch on, please, by all means, send us an email, reach out to us through our chapters or LinkedIn. Robert, I see you have your hand up, and thank you, Robert, for all of your notes in chat. It's been great to see. What's up, Robert?
That was a mistake. I meant to do one of the.
Well, that's okay.
I meant to do this. This is
we wanted to applaud you anyways, because thank you for all the input, and Rick as well, and everyone, Beverly and everybody who's added their thoughts.
And I have to real quickly say, hi, Marty. I haven't seen you in so long. It's good to see you.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Marty.
Yeah, sorry I was a little bit late. I thought it said 7 p.m. Central Time.
Not a problem. It's just good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, it has been a while.
Well, and thank you for letting those of us not in the Bluegrass area come and share with you guys.
Absolutely.
All of these open to anyone, anywhere. So please invite your friends and stuff too. More the merrier.
Yeah, I think it's great that these 3 clubs are collaborating.
It is the best time when we do it. Like this is.
I look forward to it every quarter. It's my favorite, one of my favorite meetings.
Because we're only limited by the event area that we pick and what we can come up with our imagination. So if anybody ever has any ideas, when you see the theme and you want to share them with us, we're happy to incorporate them with it.
Absolutely.
Big kudos. Way to go for pulling together your passions. I did a presentation for IIBA back in 2019, maybe for I give tours at the Frank Lloyd Wright Home and Studio here in suburban Chicagoland, and I tied the tenets of a prairie home, like the architectural prairie design home, with the knowledge-based components in the Baybach. And you know, sometimes you got to go around the corner and figure out how you're going to make things fit. But we did it. And y'all did it. You made the whole bacon and the chocolate and the almond and the user stories, and it was good. Very creative. Lots of fun. Thanks.
Thanks for the kind words. And I'd love to hear that talk you were talking about. Sounds fantastic.
I've
It
got
does.
it somewhere.
Really
It's a
does.
huge PowerPoint, and I've got it somewhere.
So I put some Kevin Bacon birthday pics in there, some images just for the end. And if you need one to go along with that presentation, I can add Kevin Bacon and provide it back if you give me some context, because who doesn't love a little bacon or a Kevin Bacon? All right. So Aaron, any last words to share? Any news, or is it goodbye, friends?
I don't have anything.
Tie us up. I don't want to go to my board meeting and just discuss budgets.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to make people late. Okay. Well, thank you.
I'm already
again.
late. It started at 7, so
Just tell them you were busy. You were busy.
they knew. I told them up front.
So thank you everyone for joining us for our Agile After Hours. We look forward to seeing you at our next quarterly event. Remember, if you have any ideas based on the theme, which will, if it isn't already published, will soon be published. And we look forward to spending time with you again.
And what were you going to say, Aaron? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I wanted you to keep us going.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day and evening, rest of your week.
Thanks all. See you next
Thank
time.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Oh, I hear someone barking and Button staring at the computer now. Bye, all.
Walk time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Goodbye.